Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles with your host, the socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, speaking. Now we are going to be dealing with a one good example of how dark psychology is applied. And we are going to start off with the fitness industry, ladies and gentlemen. So y'all come through as I mainly actually get my pump on and everything, and then once I get done with that and literally get gassed out, then I'll be able to actually show you some examples on how things really go down when it comes to all these fitness influencers and all this other craziness that you see up on social media.
The fitness community is so toxic. A study found that 15 to 30% of gym goers use steroids, and a majority of these people do not compete and aren't athletes. Yet people have convinced themselves that people whose source of income is based on how they look aren't using steroids, because taking steroids is the easy way out. 99% of these fitness influencers don't have a degree in what they're talking about, let alone a personal training certification, because that's hard to do. And the fitness community is full of sellouts.
Juicy! Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Now that I just got back, literally after exhaustion from trying to rehab my rhomboids and being literally suffocated up in that steam room and in that sauna, so much so I had to literally take a quick shower, and look at me feeling extremely exhausted and feeling a little bit iffy with all my body all weak and numb and everything. Now be like a good perfect time to mainly talk about a lot of fitness influencers, more so a lot of illegitimate fitness influencers literally ruining the space for everybody. Now, excuse me. One second, y'all. Juicy! Juicy! When it comes to the fitness world, right? You know, it's tough because you got two types of people. You have a dude, or basically like one chick that basically shows off most of her abs, gets herself mainly ripped in peak condition, basically shows most like they like rip prospects, they're showing themselves chisels, showing themselves lean and everything. And then you got, you know, the other person, whether it's like a man or a woman, that's heavily well versed, basically has a master's in exercise science, physiology, health science when it comes to relation to human body and exercising and the sciences and nutrition, and or he or she may have a certification in physical personal training, or has a personal trainer certification on how each muscle part basically works when it mainly operates and how they mainly grow with those things. You know, what do most people mainly choose to actually get? You know, I'll let y'all take a moment while I just finish up this water real quick. Juicy! If you guess the latter, as much as I like to say I'm right, unfortunately we are all sadly mistaken. A lot of people, men and women, would easily fall for, you know, the person that has the chiseled abs, that shows off their abs frequently, night and day, whether or not they have like a basically like a background in exercise science, or even a master's level, or even has a certificate in physical training. Irrespective of that, they'd rather go with someone that has the high level chiseled physique rather than one that's actually well in intellectual exercise science to give you like the proper steps on how to train just to get your body rolling. Because a lot of times, a lot of people yearn for that physique themselves, and they basically doing like a lot of comparison due to the fact that they have their own securities within themselves. Now, it's easy to actually look and say, oh, this guy's made successful just because they have like this chiseled body, or he or she's like an efficient bodybuilder or whatever it may be. But you don't really know that person's backstory whatsoever, right? Now, in some cases, even though they don't have a thorough background in exercise science or even in personal training, or even received a certificate in personal training, you know, they may be doing like one type of exercise movement, mainly growing up, and actually developing and actually just expand onto other things when it comes to exercising, whether it's martial arts, calisthenics, bodybuilding, however it may be, or even in boxing, right? Even in boxing, Muay Thai, however it is. You know, anything to literally trying to keep themselves moving and keep themselves constantly in motion. They mainly do those things and actually share those life experiences with others. And in some cases, they actually may actually give these experiences and actually give their educational background based on their past experiences in a practical way, right? There's those. And of those people that have those ripped chisel ads, and there's like another portion, unfortunately, that basically just do it through cheating. They'll still exercise, but they'll go and literally take like the fast route, you know, hit the juice. Ow! Juicy! Well, hit a bit of the juice. Now I'm saying, trying to see if they can actually speed up their muscle recovery that way, see if their healing process, try to see if they actually get further jacked down the line, you know, basically further risking their health and their longevity up on this earth, literally down the line, to the point where either, you know, their sexual organs fail to function, you know, their nuts literally start to shrink, their testes literally start to shrink, due to the fact that testosterone is actually being placed somewhere, then being received from somewhere else, whether it's through basically like a stick up the needle and full transfer on. You know, the testes are like, hey, why are we here? And they start shrinking to the point where, you know, you feel like you literally transitioning. But let me not go that route. Okay. And to those who are up in the outlet community, please don't take this the wrong way. This is not to make fun of the situation in any other form. You know, I was actually just literally trying to make an analogy. If this feels insulting, I truly apologize. Now, they deal with these things, you know, you deal with, you know, your man boobs really developing when they're literally taking the juice every now and then while you're actually still exercising. God forbid you deal with disease really down the line when you least expect it. That can cause concerns. You know, they may actually try to promote a facade, give an illusion out to the fans while certain fans question how they are able to specifically do it. Well, and that's why whenever they try to do it, sometimes it just may not work for them. And that could literally be a huge, huge, huge concern. Our eye mainly tends to be fooled by the exterior rather than actually looking deep forward and actually doing some thorough digging, which I will be actually digging into later on in this video. Now, before I get to the counters and the solutions of this little example here, juicy! Darn it. I'm gonna take a moment to crash, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. I'll be right back.
You follow fitness influencers on social media that people just look incredible. Every other swipe is someone with an impossible physique. And you're wondering, how is this possible? Two things are happening. Number one, these are tremendous athletes. These people are working out way more than you or I. 2-3 hours a day, really remarkable. Number two, a lot of people are using drugs. Things like anabolics, testosterone, Tren, Anavar. But a bunch of people are now using experimental injectables called peptides. Peptides are amino acids, they're precursors, and they stimulate your body to release things like human growth hormone. So someone injects sermorelin, the peptide, and their HGH levels go way, way up and everything grows. That sounds really exciting, except who knows what the long-term risk factors are. Remember, these people that you're seeing, they're in the business of clicks and clout, so they're happy to be guinea pigs. You and I, we're in the business of health span. So when you look in the mirror, remember, your focus is on your 80-year-old self, not on clicks and clout and comments.
All right, so what are the signs that you may be dealing with like a dark side college leaguer or like a fraud fit influencer, right? Number one, when they literally shame their viewers, when they shame their fans, that's basically like one sign, right? If they actually talk like some crazy stuff that's not even like scientifically backed or like analytically backed or even medically backed, you know, but yet they do some stuff that's actually the complete opposite. I'm not saying that it may not work for them. I'm not saying it works or it wasn't work for them. What may work for them, it doesn't really fully guarantee that it may work for you in that case. If they don't ever explain certain tips that are of a practical sense, you know, that's like another huge red flag as well. If they are not thoroughly honest with what they're taking, if they're not thoroughly honest with what they're doing down to the T, this should be like a big red flag for you to actually literally walk away and literally for you to literally avoid. And again, if they treat like mainly like other people like crap, even though they may claim they have like the hottest body literally known to man on earth, but yet they literally like mistreat people and literally try to shame other folks. I may have actually explained this over again. This is basically like a big sign that you need to stay away from. All right. Sign language, as Kevin Samuels would say, like an example. Shame, insults, guilt need to be right. Again, shame, insults, guilt need to be right. You know, all the F-bombs and everything, all the belittling, all this other stuff basically towards the guests. Huge red flag, literally stay away from them, right? If they tell you more, if they talk about more like on a practical sense, actually facilitating with like the right hosts or facilitating with the right channels, basically like appropriate doctors, appropriate resources, such of things. You know, if they don't even discuss more of that aspect and tell you, oh, this type of stuff doesn't even exist, if you actually try and do all these general statements but not even not even thoroughly specialize on your specific needs, this may be a good red flag for you to actually back away from that particular influencer.
I went from this to this in less than 24 hours, and this is how I did it. Influencers use a number of tricks to fool you, and I'm about to tell you all their secrets. The first one is posture. Shoulders back and chest out. This makes you look broader and more confident. The second trick is professional lighting, which makes a huge difference. This adds shadows and makes your muscles look way more defined. I'm already looking so much more shredded, but we can still improve. Trick 3 is tanning. I use fake tan to give myself more color and add definition. Whoa, this makes a huge difference, but this isn't my final form. The biggest trick of all is pump, a big workout to make my muscles look jacked. After all that, and only 4 hours later, I present to you my final form. Be careful what you believe on the internet.
And this is what brings me to the counters, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking to start out and actually looking to lead an active lifestyle journey, the main thing that I want you guys to literally focus on, after currently working as an office assistant for a medical practice for a very, very long time, seeing patients actually suffer through chronic kidney disease and other types of ills, dealing with all this anxiety of like when they're gonna be living another day and all this other stuff, you know. Your main concern shouldn't be about some aesthetic that like some influencer mainly has. Your main concern should be actually being the best version of yourself that you can be as best as you can, while literally alleviating yourself, actually improving your mental health, and making sure you get more endorphins in your system. I know because I was that same way, and I've been literally utilizing the gym as my source of therapy as well as endorphins to mainly keep myself calm throughout the day, throughout the crazy, fast-paced work day that I mainly have to deal with all the nagging and all the pace and all the demands. You know, the gym is actually my source of decompression. You know, it's like ease anxiety, to ease the tension, all these other things. You know, you want to try and worry about yourself and actually worry about being the best person that can literally be. And what I would suggest to you is to start off, if you feel able, actually just evaluate some things, you know, change some habits when it comes with eating habits, when it comes to nutrition. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot one more thing about nutrition. Like, if the fantasy food doesn't really talk that much about legitimate nutrition, let them go. Now back to what I was saying. If you want to try and make sure you actually slowly but surely try and find some foods, healthy foods, that you mainly thoroughly enjoy and actually stick with it. The second step would be to actually go try and see if you can seek an appointment with a primary care physician, try and see if you try and get your physical up and see what that physician mainly states based on your health and what other steps you need to do moving forward. Speak with them about potential nutritionists, speak with them about potential personal trainers or even physical therapists, actually trying to make sure you actually get into the habit of making sure you're on injury prevention. Make sure you're on the path of literally thoroughly losing weight the best way you can, as systematically, as practical as you can with those things. And also make sure you actually go to a mental health consultant as well to actually try to ease your ills and actually try to invent some thoughts if you overworked at all the craziness when it comes with body image and all these other things. I think, in my opinion, it would be best for you to actually go seek a mental health counselor or a professional psychiatrist. See if you're actually able to actually talk to somebody or get anybody that's come by on site to find a psychologist that's thoroughly right for you and your specific needs. That would be like another best route to actually really go about as well. Now, when it comes to the types of exercise you mainly do, you can start out with walking, right? Walking will give you like a very, very good get together. Start with some basic movements, actually trying to get your endorphins going. Whether it's like starting off with walking, exploring, like take a walk around the park, take a walk across the bridge, do these types of things to actually literally start off. You can also maybe just do like a little bit of light running, or actually just playing around with your dogs, playing around with some family members, or playing around with some friends, just having some little bit of fun, play with some sports to actually get yourself going up in the mood. Now, if you feel like you got more endorphins, literally just up and juiced up in your system. The other step that you really want to do is focus more on actually trying to get a gym membership to start off. Get more used to maybe weightlifting at times. If you're interested in actually doing some calisthenics and actually moving around with your body and doing your own weight to your body, they got plenty of legitimate calisthenic influence that you actually rely on that actually done most of this stuff before, and we'll give you some thorough practical advice, and we'll have you learn literally at your own pace and take things slowly but surely on how you can literally utilize and maximize their system. As they always say, it's not really about how fast you go or how heavy you go. It's more so how great of a form you mainly do over a period of time, so that you be able to master that particular form in order to prevent further injury down the line. Whether it's calisthenics or even bodybuilding or even powerlifting, right? If you're dealing with like heavy weights or weight training, resistance training, CrossFit, same thing. You want to try and make sure you get the right form down rather than actually worrying too much about power. Because you worry too much about power and any other missteps that come by, you could be literally at risk for potential catastrophic injuries down the line, which couldn't be irreversible. Some could be reversed, but you could be dealing with worse injuries that you may not get back from. So I want to literally try to make sure I bring this up down the line. You want to try and make sure you do these things in like a safe way in order for yourself to literally prevent future injury or further injury down the line. So these are the things that I will literally start off there. Now, for those that really want to try and deal with like a certain image, just to deal with like some merits and everything, I wouldn't even worry too much about all these things at all. Because at the end of the day, you got to worry about all these health conditions as well. When you worry too much about certain aesthetics and certain looks that you have to try to maintain, what's not discussed, again, like I said, with the steroids, what's not even discussed is like the frequent starvations, basically lethargic energy, basically often over time, hair loss, you name it, especially speak with these physicians, because again, what I'm saying is not fully medical advice, but more as practical advice as much as possible, so that you'll be able to actually try and live a much more fulfilling, healthy lifestyle literally down the stretch. Because even if you do have the fittest body, if you don't have the right nutrition, you can still be getting one step closer, unfortunately, down to the hospital. And those solutions that I really want to talk about, how to counter those narratives whenever fit influencers mainly practice dark psychology. Now, unfortunately, and sadly, even if we do present practical advice, even if we do show real life statistics, real life analytics, that actually back up what I'm saying, or even back up what some other dudes that's actually practical, that's actually well certified or extremely well educated with like a master's or even a PhD, in training, right? In basic training. You got to also trying to also make sure you have to figure out, yes, you got like some influencers that may look jacked and everything, but also I have to make sure, do they know how to also train properly? That's another thing that you have to focus on as well, that really came close to mind, you know, because there are some fit influencers that may look great and the stories may have helped them out, the juice may have helped them out, but they just don't know how to properly train properly and how to actually handle dealing with certain sessions, how to handle really doing certain reps, and how to actually do proper form just to get to like the maximum reps up in your workouts. You know what I'm saying? This is something that you really have to leech on. Even if we do all these things, even if we show evidence, there unfortunately will be a lot of people that will still hold these fit influencers down regardless, because number one, many of them just don't even want to put in the work in. Number two, many of them really want to try and literally vicarialize, live their lives vicariously through them. And number three, they're deeply insecure and they literally stuck basically up on a loop and actually just don't even have the strength to literally get themselves out as of yet. And those, unfortunately, are like the deep, deep repercussions of dark psychology.
For those of you who train in a commercial gym and expect others to move out of the way when you're trying to film a video, get huffy when they accidentally walk across your shot, or ask to not be in the background of your clip, film other people minding their own business without their consent, and act like you own the space when other people are also paying money to be there. I want to ask you a question. What the
Get stoned!